Here's a stock that I think is a perfect example of stock that you need to really have a good feel for what's going on, and even then it can be a very risky type of trade. I mean, everybody's talking about Best Buy because it has that potential potential buyout candidate, and again, that's always up in the air whether that's going to work. But what's always important is kind of even from a technical standpoint is if you're going to take a shot on something, you have to understand what that implies, okay? And the pattern kind of gives you a feel of how your trading strategy is to be. A lot of times people have their own trading strategy, and that's good, but you have to develop it based upon what is your best, how you normally approach the market, as close to that as possible. For example, here we're looking at a stock that's clearly had trouble. You see consistent sell-off, new lows constantly created, and you could see this long grinding out process going lower, and then you see this pretty good gap down. Okay, now even if you were looking at this and you said, wow, it's had a pretty good move, it may be a little overextended, I think we could see a potential move higher here. That is a potential, and you could take those kind of risks. Of course, you would just say, okay, well, if I'm going to buy in here for a potential, move, I've got to have a pretty tight stop here because I could see this continuing going lower. Plus, I just saw the last gap. Now, you're assuming that that's an exhaustion gap at the end of a move. But what's always very dangerous in these kind of moves here is that this is still, even with this big move higher, it's still a reactionary move. So your target, even in the best case scenario, would have been this price range, around the 15 range as it comes into the 50-day moving average, because that even if it's starting in this pattern, that's where you're going to see some major resistance. You have a prior swing low, you have the 50-day moving average right in here, you've already extended pretty far past the initial gap in the first swing high, so although it had a real big move, you're still subject to that, and then you'll start to see some potential selling pressure as it's finding this resistance, and then everybody will get a little nervous, try to take their profits in here. So you have to understand what kind of